All right. So this is a new type of vlog series, I guess I'm doing. It's not really a vlog since it's not really, my face isn't here. What I'm going to start doing these days is I'm going to start talking about topics and then overlaying gameplay, um, just to put in the background so you guys have something to watch. And I can actually put up gameplay of more of the recent games that I wanted to do. So since what I really do is I just put up first impressions for those games, and that's really the only gameplay that you see. This is a good opportunity for me to actually put up some more gameplay on my channel, and also talk about some interesting topics and get your guys' feedback on the things I'm talking about. So what I wanted to discuss was something interesting, and I sort of thought about this because even I still have my friends today that fall into this category, and it's, can you be a hardcore gamer and buy less than 10 games a year typically? And also being a hardcore gamer is one thing. I don't really like to get into this whole hardcore versus casual thing, because when it comes down to it, we're all technically gamers. Some of us are just more into the culture than others, and that's perfectly fine. But can you be technically a hardcore gamer if you purchase less than 10 games a year, but you sort of stay into the whole culture of it? You watch E3, you read up on the recent news on what's going on in the industry itself. I mean, what really constitutes being a hardcore gamer? Is it just simply the amount of games that you purchase and play throughout a single year? Or is it I'm young, I don't have a job, I don't buy that many games a year because I can't afford them, but I do stay within the culture. It's a really interesting thing because me personally, you guys know me as I like collecting stuff, right? I'm a big collector when it comes to video games out there, and I have probably 160, 170 games, excluding my digital titles as well, for the last generation of consoles. And there's still other games I want to purchase. I have actually a list of all the games I still want to get for my last gen consoles. I think there's 65 or something like that more games that I want to get. And already on this generation of consoles, I have probably, I would say, around 30, 35 games just looking on my shelf here. I mean, I probably last year in 2014, I probably purchased about, I want to say 20 to 25 games alone. So, and there's all the digital games on there as well. So, I'm the type of guy who I purchase all my games. I don't rent them, and if I'm even remotely interested in playing something, I'm gonna play it. That's always been my just my outlook on everything is, okay, if I'm interested in playing it, then just play it, and I have done, on multiple occasions, I have dropped $60 on release for a game that I was very nervous about, and most of the time I came away very pleased. There are other times where I dropped $60 on a game and I was excited for it and it seemed really cool, and the game completely disappointed me. Dead Space 3, that came out in early 2013, was a game I was really looking forward to because Dead Space 2 was so awesome, and so was the first Dead Space. But Dead Space 3 it ruined the whole franchise for me. It was boring. The story wasn't that good or interesting at all. And it was incredibly frustrating because they just kept throwing enemies at you, and it was supposed to be survival horror. So it was like the game turned into this action-oriented game, but it wasn't like a good action game. I don't mind if a game changes genres as long as it's good within that genre that it's trying to change in. So a game that I actually bought that I was pleasantly surprised about, but I was nervous, is just recently Dying Light. I was very nervous about that game because I hated Dead Island with a passion so much. And when Dying Light came out, I dropped $60 on release, and I came away pleasantly surprised, and I actually really enjoyed the game. And you guys can see my review, my 45-minute review of me just talking about the game and just how much I liked it, because I really did enjoy my time I spent with it, And so, that's just my type of personality, and I'm lucky enough to have the luxury of being able to do that every now and then. What I've been actually trying to do this year is not buy as many games. I didn't buy Evolve on release. I will be getting it later. Resident Evil Revelations 2, I'm not getting on release. I'm going to be getting it later. Assassin's Creed Rogue, I've been waiting for the PC release, It's supposed to come out March 10th, but I'm gonna pick that up later. At a time where I have more downtime. But for those of you, who basically buy less than 10 games a year, do you consider yourself a hardcore gamer? It's really interesting because you can't help it. If you're like 14 years old and you don't have the ability to have a job yet, you're not old enough to have a job yet, and you only buy, you have to rely on your parents or money that you get from, your birthday or the holidays or whatever in order to purchase your games. I could see making an exception for someone in that case. If you're young and you don't have a job and you're only able to purchase like 6 or 7 games a year. I remember being in that situation when I was younger. I remember having to ask my parents, I'm just really excited for this game. I used to ask my dad for like a game or two a year. Right? I was just like, oh, I'm really excited. I would talk about it all the time. And once in a while, he would buy it for me, and I would go home and play it. On Christmas and my birthday, I would get like 3 games at the most, right? So, and then I remember this one time, it was Christmas, and I got a gift card, and there are all these games coming out, but I was like really excited for Crysis 2, and I actually had to save my gift card. I had to make that decision to save my gift card until Crysis 2 came out, and that's what I did. I waited till Crysis 2 came out, and I bought it. Actually bought it early. I found someone selling it early, and I bought it before it came out with that gift card. So it's I can see the situation like that. These days games are incredibly expensive. $60 it's not just nothing. I understand. They're expensive these days, and we all have different responsibilities. Some of us are older and we have bills to pay for. Others are we're younger and we have school, and we're working constantly. Maybe we're in relationships, so it's not like being a hardcore gamer becomes incredibly more difficult as time goes on, especially for those of you guys who have families. It's like you can't really help it. So, but as far as someone who let's just put out the situation out there that you're incredibly into the gaming culture, but you buy less than 10 games a year. Do you think that would count as someone technically being a hardcore gamer, versus someone who just purchases 20 games a year and they play them, they don't really beat them necessarily, they don't play them all the way through, and they're not really into the whole gaming culture, So it really does boil down to that situation. My friends, my best friends, they are, they basically buy, I'd say they buy about 10 to 12, maybe 15 games at the most a year, right? And they have jobs and everything, but they're one of those type of people who, if a game's coming out from a series that they don't necessarily know or they never played, they would rarely take a chance on it at all, and they'd rarely interest themselves in it completely. So they always come to me, and all my friends, they always come to me, and they're always like, is this game good? Should I buy it or not? And I always have to, since I'm the guy who has everything, right? I always have to give them a quick synopsis on what I think about it, what it's about, and just more importantly, what do I think it's worth to them. Most of the time, I will try to motivate them to actually go out and just take a chance on it themselves, because I do believe in the leap of faith mentality, where some of the best gaming experiences I've had are from games that I expected nothing from. And the same goes for movies as well. So when you just randomly go into a store and you're like, you know what, I know nothing about this game, it looks somewhat interesting, I'm going to pick it up, you could bring home like one of the best games of the year, and you wouldn't even, you wouldn't know it until you play it. And I've had so many experiences like that where I didn't expect anything from the game, I didn't expect anything fantastic, but I came away so surprised. Remember Me from Don't Not Entertainment in 2013. That was a game that had a tremendous story. Binary Domain had a tremendous story. And games like those where I don't really expect much of anything, but I come away so surprised. I mean, there's just those experiences that I just really, 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 really love. And it's kind of why I do take leap of faiths on games today. I'm not, I just like being surprised. And I love looking forward to what's coming out, and I love playing games. First and foremost, I love taking my time in them and exploring everything I can, and it's just, that's just what I love doing. And there's every once in a while I have to pick and choose what games I want to get on release, because it's so expensive these days, especially when games all start coming out at one time. It's like you can't freaking keep up, so. But that's just a quick question I wanted to ask everyone here is, what do you think constitutes a hardcore gamer? Is it just, the amount of games you purchase per year, or does the actual culture of everything count as well? So thank you all for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I look forward to reading your responses, and I'll talk to you all later. Have a good one.